What's happening, Bulls? Happy Friday. It's my public service to be able to try and help Aussies not lose money, not get wrecked in crypto, not hate crypto, not leave crypto. So that's the goal, basically. So we're here. We're going to go through some news. As we do, we'll go through some news and then I'll give you some A-grade technical analysis towards the end. We'll try and work on getting this a lot faster and we'll just keep it rolling. So first things first, here we are. Just a stark reminder of who can ban Bitcoin, coming from the president himself, not the president that you might be thinking of, but one that seems to call a spade a spade.
Биткоин кто может запретить? Никто. А использование других электронных средств расчета кто может запретить? Никто, потому что это новые технологии. И чего бы ни было, чего бы ни происходило с долларом, эти инструменты так или иначе будут развиваться, потому что все будут стремиться к тому, чтобы снижать издержки и повышать надежность. Биткоин.
That's the main headliner right there. Who can ban Bitcoin? Nobody. So basically, what's going on in these? I'm just ripping you through, getting you updated, giving you a person that's been in the industry for 8 years, give you my opinion on it. Just chew through. I know that you're a busy, most likely a man, busy man. Next thing, we'll just cruise through a little bit of Ray Dalio. If you don't know who Ray Dalio, he founded Bridgewater, one of the most, if not the most successful hedge fund ever to ever do it. Hold on one second. And carrying on. So Ray Dalio, CEO of Bridgewater, invented Bridgewater. Now it's running off himself. He's just on sort of a philanthropy ordeal. You could see his book in the background there, Changing the World Order. But his best one is Principles, if you want some principles to live your life on. Anyway, Ray Dalio, he almost bores you into ignorance where he talks about his time frames. His time frames are so much larger than anybody's patience can handle. So he's literally talking centuries when he talks. But he does come back into the present and give some ideas about the now, and that's when you need to listen to him. All right, very renowned man. Listen to what he has to say here on Tucker Carlson.
What happens if the government issues digital currency? Like, what does that mean?
Well, digital currency is, right, you're talking about central bank digital currencies.
Yeah.
Okay, and that there's a great deal of appeal because of the fact that it's easy and so on. But it's, and I think it'll be done. A lot happens.
You think it will be done?
Yeah. I think it's, but what happens in the digital currency, of course, it's easy to transact and so on, and it'll be like money market funds, I think. The question will be first, will they be able to offer interest? So there's a debate now as to whether they will be interest. If they're not able to offer interest, and there will be a debate, probably they won't be. But then they're not an effective vehicle to hold it in because you'll have the depreciation.
Of course.
You'd rather hold it in a money market fund or a bond, but that's debate. There will be no privacy, and it's a very effective controlling mechanism by the government. What I mean is all the transactions will be known. All transactions done with digital currencies will be known, which is good for illegal activities, getting control of illegal activities. But it also means that the government has a great deal of control. For example, they can tax that way. They can take your money. They can establish foreign exchange controls and the like. And so that's something that will be an increasing issue, particularly for international holders of that currency, because they might feel, let's say, if you're a Frenchman and they wanted to have sanctions, they could take your money.
Well, of course.
And so on. So there's the privacy issue of that.
And if you're politically disfavored, you could be shut off.
Politically disfavored, you could be shut off, yes. So those kinds of.
So pretty much one thing to take into account here is when you go and say you got a big weekend coming up, you go and get a bag, or you're going to buy a stick or a fitty or something, and you go, what are you doing? You're using cash most of the time. You're going to the ATM, you're getting cash. As you can see, it's inconvenient to use cash, and not many people actually go. If you sit out the front of a Commonwealth Bank and you look at the ATM and watch who comes in, you could pretty much just arrest them right then and there. Whoever's going to the ATM's basically ready to get arrested. I'm surprised they don't do that already. It's just it's a turning wheel. But what I'm getting at is it's obvious cash is being destroyed. And, there was a time during COVID where I was very offended. I went into Nando's, drove all the way up to Maroochydore, went to Nando's, hungry, ready for a quarter chick, half chook, basting, mild, some peri-peri chips, some creamy chip dip when they still had it. Delicious. Middle of COVID. Cash. No, sorry, we're not taking. What do you mean you're not taking cash? It's legal tender. No, sorry, mate, we've been instructed. What do you mean? I stood there debating him about the use of cash and how he has to take my cash for at least 15 minutes. Manager, nah, sorry, mate, we're not interested. Head office, bang. That was my first experience of being cash poor, cash rejected. I was rejected with my cash. I'm like, what the fuck do I do with this now? I go down, go buy some drugs. You turn me on to drugs. So I'm just like, it's obvious to see that cash is disappearing, and then a lot of people just they want coins. So it's easier to have your card. So you take your card around in the bank. The next step from the bank and, tap and go, what we're used to right now, it used to be slide and pin, now it's tap. Next evolution, the next stage up from all of this is going to be the central bank digital currencies, and it's end game for them. That's why it'd be nice if we could go back to cash and not tell the government every single thing that we're doing and not pay tax on every single thing. But that's just not the direction the world's heading. The world's heading in central bank digital currencies. And what's so bad about central bank digital currencies? Long story short is that it will be, there will be smart contracts. They'll be on the blockchain and they'll be programmable. So it's programmable money. I might sound a little bit extreme when I say it here, but I'm talking, use your carbon credits for the week. Decline. Go try and buy $190 worth of rump steak. You have reached your CO2 emissions. It sounds Orwellian, but it's what's coming. Or you try and drive out of your smart city, driving, your Tesla turns off. What the fuck? What's going on? Go to the servo, try and fuel up or charge up, decline. You've done your miles, you've done your greenhouse gas for the day. You can't leave the city, you're going out of bounds, whatever, anything, let your imagination run wild. It could be that, or it could just be as simple as, taxes taken out straight away out of transactions, like bang, taxes taken out, whatever. Could be anything. So it's unfortunate, and crypto is the opt out because it's the same technology but a good version of it. I just want to get back to the roots while we're on Ray Dalio, just real quick. We'll just get back to the roots of why Bitcoin changed his view of the world. Okay, so this is all ammo for you to be able to tell your parents at next Thanksgiving dinner. Have a listen.
Well, the evolution of Bitcoin over the years is one of the things that has influenced changes in my view. It has proven itself something like 10, 11 years ago. Imagine the programming of this, and you throw it out, and that's the idea. It has not been hacked. It has operated. It is built. It has come an amazing way over that 11 years to be maybe probably the most excited topic among a lot of people, and has been used and is now has obtained the status of having imputed value. At the same time, it is one of those assets that is an alternative money. I think we're entering an era where there's going to be a competition of monies.
This is exactly what I was just saying. So a competition of monies, crypto versus CBDCs versus different fiats versus, old school methodology, gold or gold backed things. Like the puck's about to be flying in the air. It's up for, there's been a challenge issued. Technology is growing.
Because of the printing of fiat money and the depreciated value, there will be a competition of monies. And Bitcoin is part of that competition. But the money has two purposes: a medium of exchange and a storehold of wealth. And we are looking for, and it's portable. And it's best if it's recognized in other countries. So gold is one of those. So I look at it as an alternative gold, but I look at a number of things as alternative gold. And gold is still my favorite because of certain qualities. For example, you can't trace it. In Bitcoin, you can trace who owns it, where it's going, and so on. Governments can have that ability to trace it and so on. A gold piece of coin, it's not connected. I think not connected has benefits, particularly in a world where maybe connections can be more risky.
So you might be hearing a lot about the downsides. So this is, and Ray Dalio was a massive Bitcoin bear for a long time, right? So it's nice. This is an old video when he was on Lex Fridman, but it's nice hearing him come around to it, obviously. But just explaining and reiterating on about how important it is to understand that there is a war for our next usable currency going on. Crypto is the opt-out. Bitcoin is the opt-out. Gold is even the opt-out. Gold doesn't come without its problems either. Obviously, it's difficult to transport. It would be nice to just go back to a gold-backed currency. All fiat currencies are destined to zero, basically. And that's what clearly confuses people, because they'll say, oh, the price of milk. Have you seen the price of fuel? Have you seen the house? It's like, fuel's still fuel. Fuel is still fuel. Okay, it might be a little bit easier or harder to get, but if fuel remains the same difficulty, the same supply and demand, which sometimes it does, but the price changes, what's going on? It's sort of like when you're parked in a car, right? And you're sitting there, and then the car next to you starts reversing. You're like, oh. You think that you're going forward, but you're not. Okay, so the fiat currency, the dollars, are devaluing, where fuel's staying the same. So there's going to be a price change. So instead of the price going down, it's going up, right? So because you can get 1 liter of fuel for $1.50, $1.20. Because $1.50, $1.70, $1.80, $1.90, $2.50, because this is worth less and less and less and less. So you need more of it. So fiat's, and Trump wants to just print. Everyone just wants to print. They got a taste of it through COVID. Talk about it yesterday. Gold, you might be hearing there's a lot about quantum at the moment as well. What have I done here? There we go. There's quantum. Quantum as a problem. There's going to be a lot more problems caused by quantum than fucking Bitcoin if quantum becomes that powerful. I'm telling you, right now it's going to be, your bank's going to be hacked as well. So, but anyway, there's a lot of problems, in the future in a lot of different assets, including gold. So we won't just ignore the fact that gold does have problems too. So we've got our zesty little scam artist of a friend here. But he's bringing up, some interesting points about the scarcity of gold. And this is sort of a promotion for Bitcoin as well, but just have a listen.
And there's a couple what I'd call black swan risks to gold. One is there's 1 million times more gold underground than above ground today. And so if gold gets too expensive, like literally Mag 7 is just going to get into the gold mining business, right? Because you might as well just dig for gold. It's more valuable than anything. The second is gold is all extraterrestrial. I learned that at the Perth Mint, which is one of the few places that assays and makes gold bars. So SpaceX might do a mission to Mars and then run into a gold asteroid. And Elon Musk, if he it's international. I mean, he would own all the gold. He would become the new central bank, and that gold could be, 100 billion ounces.
What about the risk that you can manufacture it?
Correct. And the third is, of course, alchemy. Because look, if someone has discovered a way to knock an atom off lead to make it gold, they won't tell anybody. And there's just a whole bunch of gold supply coming, and there's.
So while all potentially very distant in the future, are all factually somewhat correct as well. So take that onto your stride. It's already been 15 minutes, so we'll just move in just to the chart real quick, and we'll just continue. We'll continue chipping away at it. This is the Bitcoin chart. One candle equals 1 hour here. So this is truly quite zoomed in. One of these candles equals 1 hour. It's actually really important to just sort of see where everything is at the moment. So what you can see right here is there's a range. There's been a range basically since Friday before. So 2 weeks. Price has been ranging here, short here, long here, short here, long here. The opposite of what I've been doing, to be fair. I'm waiting for and very expectant on a brief relief, at least into around. There's a lot of liquidity here. Okay, so there's quite a large draw on the price action. You can see something like this happening very easily. It's a liquidity hunting market. So what does liquidity mean? So where are people going to be forced to sell? Forced to sell or forced to buy, depending on their position. Okay, so let's say, for example, you put on a long. So you're betting the price is going to go up. Where are you going to put your stop loss? Okay, if you're greedy, you're putting it there, or if you have a certain strategy, or you put it here. You look for previous lows, or you put it here, or you look for round numbers, 60K. That's 60K. So these are all the stop losses. This is everybody's stop losses, okay, leverage trading. So if you were big money, smart money, and you wanted to get a good position and also, more importantly, fill your bags, the most difficult thing there is to do when you get size. So we've got it easy, if you're filling $1,000, $10,000, even $50,000 order, it's not that hard on an asset like Bitcoin. If you want to fill $1 million order, even 2 million, it gets harder and harder exponentially. But if you want to fill millions of dollars worth of a long, if you want to also go long, let's just say I'm Tate or something, or someone with a fair bit of coin and a bit degenerate, and I wanted to go long Bitcoin here. If I longed it here, every single order, I would just eat up the whole order book. I'd push the price to 70K, probably even with a couple of mil. If I did it on there'd obviously be a lot of arbitrage, and, this sort of shit would happen where, like this bang, bang, that sort of shit. Yeah, bang, bang. That's probably somebody filling his big money filling their bag. And what happens is you're obviously buying, so every buy pushes the price up. So even if you fat thumbed it, which you wouldn't, you would just push the price up all the way up to bloody 70K from here or something. So what happens is you need the price to pretty much go down, because down means selling, and you need to be the buying to catch all the selling, therefore filling your bag up at the same time. Okay, so what do you do then? Well, if you want to fill your bag up, you need to find people's stop losses, because stop losses are where they're forced to sell. So when they're forced to sell to somebody. So you want to be there to catch that. Does that make sense? So, you can line the market up right, low liquidity, thin order books, start a bit of a domino effect of cascade selling, push the price down here, push the price to here, and then just start filling as all the stop losses are triggering as it trades down there. And then you move up. Or if you have a bigger order, send it lower. So it's not uncommon. In fact, it's almost essential to send the price in the opposite direction. So that's why they call it a liquidity hunt or a stop hunt or a liquidity grab, to fill your bags. Basically, that's one of the key. Fill your bags at a better price. That's pretty much it. And hit all the stops. There's a reason why they want to hit everybody's stops. It's to take their money and then open their position with it, basically. Does that make sense? So just looking here, we'll wrap this up, 20 minutes, but just looking here, you want to look for where the liquidity is. On the other side of the fence, there's stop losses above, if you're shorting, if I'm going short here and I'm betting it's going to go lower, which I wouldn't at this point, even though, sure enough could, it's just not really that good of an entry. This is the entry that you wanted there, all that sort of stuff. Even above this one, the 786. But what I'm saying is, if you went short here, where's your stop losses going to be? They are going to be just above previous high. That's where everyone puts their stop losses. There. Even here, there's going to be a lot. Trust me, with this breakdown point, there's going to be a lot of stop losses right there, 76k. So if you think that we're going to like in the 40s or 50s, there's a massive chance that it goes boom, boom. Like I'm saying, goes the opposite way first more times than it doesn't. And you can see that here, like right there, boom, bull trap. See how many, that's what that did was that literally hit everybody's short stop losses and made everybody FOMO in buying it, while the short sellers were selling it to open their positions. So wrong way first, then right way. All right, so use that as again, right at that 124k, wrong way first, then right way. Wrong way first, then right way. Bull trap, bull trap, bull trap. So expect something like that. Obviously, it doesn't have to do that. Sometimes the selling just can be so immense that it's impossible. People are very desperate to get out of the position. So what they do basically is consolidation occurs and price gets really tight, really, really tight. Not as much of this, really tight. We see that in the blue bars, and then it just falls off the cliff. So that's the other way that it can go down, more or less, most commonly. And we will see that because there'll be blue bars galore on our BBWP indicators on larger time frames, which there is not. Okay, which there is not. And an example of that would be basically this. More or less, couldn't really go as high as it wanted to. It's pretty much just consolidated. Bars got really tight, fell off the cliff. So as for now, it's a dollar cost averaging man's game. If you want to buy Bitcoin for the long term, you just keep chipping away. Can it go lower? It definitely can. So be ready for that. Not financial advice, but have some dry powder or ways to get a dry powder or a plan if it does go to 40k. Because remember, Bitcoin 2017, let's just zoom out massively and we'll wrap it up. Here we go. Bitcoin went from 69k in 2021 down to 16k. Okay, goes up, goes down, bad, and then it goes higher. Goes up, goes down, bad, then it goes higher. Goes down bad, then it goes higher. Goes down bad, and then it goes higher. Okay, down bad. So be there for that. All right, we longed at 16. Not enough, but we did. We got screenshots and it's in the group. You got to be there. You got to have something. If it goes lower, you got to have something there for it. All right, peace and love. See you tonight. Ta-ta.